Hi, everyone. Good evening. My name is Sapna, and I'm really excited, very happy to be with all of you here this evening, this afternoon, depending on where you're located. I see some familiar faces, which I'm excited about. So, besides being an activist and an advocate and somebody who stands up for the LGBTQ community, I identify as queer myself. And I actually also am a parent. I have a 3-year-old kid. So I don't know how old all of you are on the call right now. I think there's some different ages, and I'll look forward to meeting all of you later. But my 3-year-old is a person who really, really loves books a lot, and we read a lot of books at home. And at home, we generally read a lot of books that do feature South Asian characters, Black characters, Latinx characters, in just different diverse voices and diverse faces. And so I'm really excited to share this book tonight, which is Ritu Weds Chandni, to show a South Asian couple. And I'm wearing my wedding sari, actually. I'm wearing the same sari that I wore 10 years ago when I married my wife. And it still smells like my wedding day, which is amazing that it's just been kept away for 10 years. And it's still smelling like the same perfume that I wore 10 years ago. I'm wearing a little bit of my wedding jewelry. And one of the other things I'm wearing is this, which is called a Mangalsutra. And that is, in some cultures, a way of showing a person who is married. And a lot of times this is something that is worn in specifically in Maharashtrian Brahmin families. And my mother's side happens to be a Maharashtrian Brahmin side. And so this is kind of representative of that. But I also want to mention that at the same time, we kind of try to reinvent and create new meanings and new significance for different things, right? So for my wife and I, even though we are not straight, we wanted to hold on to some elements of our culture and our heritage. And so we did that in our wedding. My family is from India, from Bombay, and my wife's family is from Pakistan, from Karachi. And my wife is Muslim and I'm Hindu. And so we also incorporated a lot of that in our wedding. We tried to mix and bring in elements of our culture in our own wedding. So that's another beautiful thing that people are able to do, is when you create weddings or when you create other kinds of ceremonies, we have so much freedom to put in the pieces of us, of our family story that we want to into our ceremonies and into our special days. And so my wife and I were very lucky to be able to do that. So without further ado, I'm going to stop talking about myself now a little bit and show you all the book. So this is the book. It's called Ritu Weds Chandni. And I think right here is good so that you can see the pictures. So Ritu Weds Chandni is a book by Ameya Narvankar. And this book was actually published by, it's called Yali Books. And it's an awesome company that publishes a lot of South Asian themed books. And you can go to yalibooks.com and you can see Ritu Weds Chandni and Bilal Loves Dal and lots of other books that feature South Asian characters. So tonight we're going to be reading this one. The first page is actually really beautiful because it shows Mehndi, and I was going to put Mehndi on my hands today and I did not get a chance, but I did have very extensive Mehndi done for my wedding. One of the other traditions that some people do is you hide the name of the person that you're getting married to in the Mehndi. And so I actually did that. The person who did my Mehndi for my wedding asked me who I'm getting married to. And I said my wife's name. And so they hid my wife's name inside the Mehndi, and then she had to find it later on. So it's kind of a little bit of a game. Ritu Weds Chandni, again, is by Ameya Narvankar. And here's how it starts. So I'm going to try to show the pictures as well as we're reading along. So here's the first scene right here, if everyone can see. Oops. Yeah, I'll hold it like this. Okay, here's how it goes. It was the day that Ayesha had been eagerly waiting for. Her favorite cousin was getting married, and she was excited. Ayesha was so excited. She twirled in front of the mirror and admired her lehenga. So this is the lehenga that Ayesha is wearing, and looking in the mirror and admiring herself wearing this lehenga. So lehenga is a kind of dress that some people wear. This one has a top, a blouse, and a skirt, and then like a dupatta on top. And there's different versions of this all over South Asia called different things. While waiting for her parents to get dressed, Ayesha made up a little rhyme that she sang. my Ritu Didi is getting married today, and I'm going to dance in her baraat all the way. She sang that with a big smile on her face. And so there she is smiling in her mirror because she's really excited that her cousin, Ritu, who she calls Ritu Didi, Didi means big sister, is getting married. And so she's super excited about that. So on the way to Ritu's house, Ayesha remembered the fun that she had had at Deepak Bhaiya's wedding a year ago. So Bhaiya means big brother. And so she has another cousin named Deepak, and that's Deepak getting married to his wife, Deepak Bhaiya. Ayesha had gobbled up mounds of laddus, sticky, sweet laddus. I don't know if any of you like laddus, but it's one of my favorite things to eat. And had danced with Ritu Didi and her other cousins in a big, noisy baraat. So baraat is a procession. And in some different South Asian cultures, there is a baraat which happens where sometimes you can ride on a horse, you can ride in a car. I have seen people come on elephants, different things to make an entrance to come to the wedding. And so they had a big noisy baraat for Deepak Bhaiya's wedding. And now Ritu was going to be the first bride in the Kapoor family to lead her own baraat, a wedding procession with music and dancing, and Ayesha couldn't wait to be part of it. So a lot of times if a man is marrying a woman, then a man rides on the horse. In this story, a woman is marrying a woman, and Ritu Didi is going to come on a horse, and Ayesha's super excited about that. Ayesha's mind filled with happy memories when she heard her mama say, the tradition has always been for the groom to bring the baraat to his wedding. I'm not sure if everyone will be pleased to see Ritu leading the procession today. Ayesha could see that her parents were worried. And so it is something that her parents, Ayesha's parents, didn't know that a bride could ride on a horse and come on a baraat. They just didn't know about that. Ritu's house was decorated with garlands of fresh marigold flowers. So marigold is a beautiful, bright orange flower. And in a lot of families, they use marigold when there's a special occasion. So that's what's happening. And look, everyone's getting all ready, prepared for the wedding that's taking place in the house. All the guests had gathered in the courtyard. And walking up to the gate, Ayesha could smell something delicious in the air. So it might be those laddus, those sticky, sweet laddus that are happening. But she didn't spot any familiar faces in the crowd. So now she's like, where is everyone? She couldn't find her cousins Tanya and Rohan, or her Deepak Bhaiya, or her Tara Bhabi. Bhabi is what you call a sister-in-law. So Deepak's wife would be her Bhabi. Even her grandparents weren't there yet. She was a little bit confused about what's happening. Ayesha finally spotted her chachi and said, Namaste Charu Chachi, where is the rest of our family? So Chachi is a name for aunt. In some families, you call your father's sister your Chachi. And so she's saying, Namaste Charu Chachi, where is the rest of your family? Charu Chachi hesitated. Well, they're not coming, little one. Why not, Chachi? Asked Ayesha, confused. Well, they're not happy to see Ritu marry her girlfriend. What's wrong with that? Why shouldn't she marry Chandni Didi? Ayesha blurted. So Ayesha's like, what's the big deal? Sometimes a man marries a woman, sometimes a woman marries a woman, sometimes a man marries a man. So what's the problem? There's nothing wrong with them getting married, little one, nothing at all, said Charu Chachi, looking helpless. So Charu Chachi doesn't see anything wrong with that either. It's just that some people don't understand their love. So sometimes that happens where there are some people that don't understand why one person loves another person. And that's what's happening in this story, is that some of the family members don't understand. Turning to Ayesha's father, Charu said, Bhaiya, some of the neighbors are trying to stop the celebration. So now we're getting worried. Everything's going to be fine, Ayesha's father said. Let's lead the baraat as planned. So Ayesha's father is like, it's just going to be fine. Don't worry. We're just going to keep on going and preparing. So that's the mehndi again, see, on their hands. Just then, there's Ritu, and her friends and family Ritu joined her friends and family in the courtyard. She looked radiant in a bright red and gold sari. So a lot of people wear red on their wedding day. I happen to wear green, like I'm wearing today. Ayesha watched as her chachi painted a vermilion tilak on Ritu's forehead. So that's like kind of like a bindi. It's like a big bindi that goes on the forehead. Then she helped Ritu climb onto a decorated mare. Mare is another word for a horse. So she climbed onto this horse and it's all decorated. It has all kinds of paint on it, which sometimes for big occasions, you do that for horses and for elephants. Ayesha gushed, Didi, you're the most beautiful bride I've ever seen. Ritu's face lit up upon seeing her little cousin. It means the world to me that you're here today. I wouldn't have missed it for anything, Ayesha exclaimed, smiling back. So Aisha's super excited to be there for Ritu Didi's wedding. The band started to play a lively tune, and soon everyone was dancing. The baraat set off. So here goes the procession. There's music, there's dancing, there's sometimes drumming, sometimes there's live drumming that happens. Ayesha swept up her lehenga and pumped her arms in the air, kind of like this, right? And so I don't know how you all like to dance, but there's different ways of dancing. And I think they're doing a little bit of bhangra moves over here. So pumping her arms up in the air. The wedding fun had begun. So there they go with the baraat. That's usually how you know that the wedding's about to start, is when the baraat comes. The procession slowly wound its way through the neighborhood. People are peeking out of their homes. They had never seen a bride lead a baraat before. So they've just never seen that before. Like I said, they're used to seeing a man who's on a horse, and they've never seen a woman on a horse before. So they were just a little bit confused about that. Some of them shut their windows with a disapproving bang, and others said some mean things at Ritu. Their shouts grew louder and louder, and the band had to stop in the middle of a song. Ayesha was shocked. Why would Ritu's neighbors say these mean things to Ritu Didi on her special day? The Baratis, now nervous, were walking in silence. So now Ritu and Ayesha are like, what is happening? So then these people came forward, the neighbors, the Baratis, and they stopped the Baraat. They stopped the procession from going forward. And they didn't understand why Ritu was marrying her girlfriend, Chandni. So they stopped the Baraat happening. And Ayesha said, Ma, what is happening? I'm nervous, I'm scared, I'm confused. And she started tugging her mother's sari, asking, what's happening? Ayesha glanced up at Ritu. Ritu was no longer smiling either. She was really excited about her wedding day, but she was now really sad and confused that some people wanted to stop it. Ayesha felt sad that her Didi was missing out on all the singing and dancing. But then she saw a second Baraat coming from the other direction. So there was another procession coming from the other side. And that was Chandni Didi coming. That's Ritu Didi's girlfriend, Chandni Didi, and she's on a horse too. So again, people are not used to seeing women or girls ride on horses, and Chandni Didi is also coming on a horse. They started to move towards each other, but then the people who wanted to stop the wedding stopped them from coming closer. So Ayesha was really upset now, and she started to cry. And then she saw that Ritu was also crying, and Chandni was crying too. They were all a bit upset that people wanted to stop their wedding. Ayesha could not bear to see her Didi upset, though she loved her Didi so much. She had to do something. So with all the courage she could muster, she walked up to the riders on the horses, and she announced as loudly as she could, my Ritu Didi is getting married today, and I'm going to dance in her baraat all the way. And she yelled that and she shouted, and then she started to dance. And she showed that she was really excited and happy for her Ritu Didi and her Chandni Didi to get married. And so she started dancing. She twirled her lehenga, she clicked her bangles, she put her arms in the air, she started doing her bhangra again and twirling around. She swayed her hips and stamped her feet, and everybody was stunned. They're like, wait, what's happening? Some people are trying to stop it, and here's Ayesha acting very happy about it. And she's showing that she really wants Ritu Didi to marry Chandni Didi. So then Charu Chachi started too. And Charu Chachi also jumped in and joined Ayesha. And then her dad started. And then everyone started. One by one, everybody just gathered up themselves, and they started following Ayesha and her moves, her great dancing moves. And they started dancing along with Ayesha. Now, Ritu and Chandni were unafraid. They felt so brave now that Ayesha had shown that she was brave and that she wanted them to get married. So Ritu and Chandni led their guests into the wedding tent. Once inside, everyone applauded and cheered. The brides pulled Ayesha into a tight embrace. They hugged her really tight and said, it means so much to us that you're here today, Chandni said. Ayesha smiled and said, I wouldn't have missed it for the world, Didi. And that is what happened. That's their wedding celebration. Then that's them getting married. And one of the ceremonies that happens sometimes in Hindu weddings is going around a fire. So there's a fire in the middle there. And Ritu and Chandni are walking around that fire and they're getting married. That's one of the important steps in the Hindu wedding, is to go around that fire. And here's some more pictures from their wedding of them together, of Ayesha here eating laddus, which she was excited about, of some of the wedding jewelry, of some of the mehndi. So that was all happening. And that's it. In the book itself, there's some words at the end, some of the words that are used in Hindi Urdu, which were used in this book. I tried to explain along the way, like what a lehenga is and what a didi is and what a baraat is. But if you read the book, you can also see some of those definitions. So that is Ritu Weds Chandni by Ameya Narvankar.